Intrusive thoughts win in snowy weather. I've been stuck in a bit of a funk lately. Typical winter doldrums, the sort that creep in when the weather turns bleak, the days are short, and everything feels like it's been frozen solid for months. But despite the gloom, I pushed myself to do something productive today. Laundry duty. For a little backstory, I'm the guardian of my mother's estate, which means, among other things, I have access to an estate car I can use whenever I need to run errands. Meanwhile, my own personal car sits parked on the street most of the time, primarily because my estate duties require me to be in and out with the other vehicle. Where I live, parking is all on street, and traffic flows one way. Plus, it leads directly to a busy highway exit and is near a school. It's not unusual for midday traffic to be loud and chaotic, but typically nobody parks so tightly that you can't maneuver if you know what you're doing. Anyway, today I loaded up the estate car with my laundry, jumped in, and discovered I could barely wiggle out of my spot. Some driver, for whatever reason, had parked their SUV dangerously close behind my bumper, so close it felt almost intentional. I was immediately annoyed because it seemed completely unnecessary. If they had just left a foot or two more space, I could have easily pulled out. It's not like the entire block was jam-packed. There was room along the curb, yet they chose to sidle right up behind me. My first plan of attack was simple courtesy. Go knock on the neighbor's door, see if it was their SUV. I climbed up the steps to their porch. Our street is on a slope, and the houses sit a bit higher than the road, and rang the bell twice. Each time, no one answered. Standing there, waiting in the freezing cold wind for about 10 minutes, I scanned the street below, noticing that the driver's side window of this offending SUV was open a couple of inches. That fact caught my eye instantly. Who leaves their window even slightly down in the dead of winter? At that point, I was mentally debating what to do next. I was cold, annoyed, and not in the mood for another round of neighborly doorbell attemptsies. I could move my personal car, which was parked in front of the estate car, to try to create a bit of space. But before I did, an impulsive, almost mischievous thought slid right into my mind. Why not let them feel the inconvenience they forced on me? My frustration had built up enough that I decided to indulge that thought. Let's call it a minor act of vengeance or a symbolic. Don't do that again. So, I trudged toward the open window, barehanded, mind you, stooped down by the curb, and began scooping up handfuls of wet, dirty, half-frozen gutter snow. It was the kind of slush that accumulates when the plows pass by, gritty and dark with debris. With each handful, I crammed it through the 2-inch gap in their driver's side window. I made sure to stuff it in thoroughly, as if I were packing a snowball but aimed inside their car. About 10 hefty deposits of that slush ended up on the driver's seat and probably spilled onto the floor and console. My fingers felt numb, but I'll admit the moment gave me a certain triumphant satisfaction. If they'd parked more sensibly, none of this would have happened. Once done, I dashed back inside to grab my other car keys. I maneuvered my front car out of the spot, then hopped back into the estate car, freed at last, and drove off to the laundromat. The mundane chore of laundry took me about 2 hours, so by the time I returned, the SUV was gone. No trace of my handiwork. In my mind, though, I pictured them returning from wherever they were, settling into the driver's seat, and suddenly discovering a soggy, dirty mess soaking through their upholstery. Poetic justice, I thought, for needlessly boxing me in. I'm aware it's a bit of petty retribution, intrusive thoughts or not, but I can't say I regret it one bit. It's so rare that I give in to those whimsical urges, and honestly, it felt weirdly cathartic. If nothing else, maybe that driver will think twice about how close they park behind someone next time. Goodness knows, a little spacing courtesy wouldn't kill them, especially on a street that's already chaotic enough. As for me, I moved on with my day, with a satisfying story to recount, winter blues and all.